Finally, we've gotten another Feed the Swarm variant in Withering Torment. As you can see here, it's a 3-mana black instant that says, destroy target creature or enchantment, you lose 2 life. The original variant is Feed the Swarm, and this is a 2-mana black sorcery that says, destroy target creature or enchantment and opponent controls, you lose life equal to the permanent's converted mana cost. And Feed the Swarm is seeing play in a lot of commander decks. It's in like hundreds of thousands. I really should have had this pulled up. Here we go. Feed the Swarm. So this is currently in 18% of black decks, 415,000. I believe that Withering Torment is arguably a better card, and it compares favorably to Mortify and Anguished Unmaking. Both of these cards are also 3-mana instants that can kill multiple permanent types. Anguished Unmaking can hit any non-land permanent, and it's in white-black, so is Mortified. Now, Withering Torment is good because if you're in a deck that does not touch white or green, this is a very strong card. It deals with problematic permanents like Rhystic Studies of the world, and black decks are just really gonna enjoy this. I think they might. Many decks will swap it out for Feed the Swarm, or vice versa. They'll swap Feed the Swarm out for the Withering Torment. I think this is going to be a new staple in Grixis colors that are not touching green and white. This does fit in the flavor of Commander. I believe that I disagree with Saffron Olive here. As we can see on the left side, he tweeted that this is the least favorite card of his because he believes that it breaks the color pie, and he doesn't like the idea of black having enchantment removal, even though in the color mechanic articles, as we can see here on the right, black does have Enchantment Destruction. So as you can see here highlighted, Enchantment Destruction is secondary in black. Tertiary has a number of other mechanics as well. But this is included in the black color pie as of roughly 2020 with Feed the Swarm. Now, there are a number of other cards that deal with enchantments here, as we can see. I'm going to sort these by EDH rec rank. Feed the Swarm, number 1 with a bullet by a mile. Invoke Despair, this is kind of like a targeted thing, more of like a much more minimal decks. Myron Misery, this is one of the older versions. This is from like in the 20-teens, 2019-ish. So yeah, I mean, these cards are just not very good. The Edict style effects here are not as strong with these, because if the opponent has the option, for example, in Farika's Libation, target opponent chooses one, they sacrifice, or you choose one, they sacrifice a creature or they sacrifice an enchantment. Now, the problem with that is if they have multiple enchantments, you do not get to choose, and therefore you're not killing the most problematic card on board that you want to kill. And so Withering Torment is much stronger in that area, because you target it, you choose, and it's great. It's good. This does fit the color pie again. So Mark Rosewater has a number of articles. He has a mechanical color pie 2021 update here. He has the color pie articles here on the mothership site. There's a whole bunch of articles. I clicked on the black one. Like, there's podcasts. His Drive to Work podcast is honestly required listening if you're a Magic connoisseur. If you want to learn more about Magic, Mark Rosewater's Drive to Work podcast is the number one Magic podcast that there is, period, full stop. And so I'm just here to argue that Withering Torment and its ilk, Feed the Swarm, as well as Chaos Warp, I'll talk about Dark Covenant in a second. Chaos Warp these are the types of cards that I like to see in Commander. I know Chaos Warp has been mentioned as a color pie break. Mark Rosewater said it's a break because it's a mono red way to deal with enchantments. I think that every color deserves a way to fight against various types of play in the game, like various permanent types at the very least. Perhaps not on the stack. I'm not so sure that you want to have everybody with a counterspell. But as you can see here, there are a bunch of Magic color pie bleeds, breaks, and violations. This is on a Draft Sim Magic article and updated relatively recently in the 2024. So there's a bunch of cards here: Holy Light, Suture Priest, Esper Sentinel, Armageddon. Now, Armageddon, I actually think of white as a land destruction color. Wizards doesn't really print land destruction anymore, but they've done it in the past. These cards here are playable. Mana Tithe is probably the most famous one in terms of white, because it's an on the stack counter spell that white can play. It's Force Spike color shifted from Future Sight. I think that Wizards should experiment more in this Future Sight Future Sight style of design where they explore the secondary and tertiary parts of the color pie. I'm going to go over to the color wheel here. So as we can see on the Magic color wheel, each color has its guiding philosophies. White has morality and order, blue is logic, technology, black is parasitism, amorality, red is impulse and chaos, and green is instinct and interdependence. There's also another version of this chart here that is, if I can pull it up, unity and peace for white, perfection and truth for blue, satisfaction and agency for red, passion and freedom for for black, I'm sorry, and passion and freedom are red, instinct and harmony are green. So each of these parts of each color in the pie can be oriented in a way such that the color can deal with different parts of the game. I just believe that cards like Chaos Warp, cards like Feed the Swarm, and now the new Withering Torment have a place in Magic. And unlike Saffron Olive, I do believe that these cards should be printed more often in a way that's flavorful. So, for example, here in black is, we'll go back to the Dark Confident. Black is greatness at any cost. This is probably like one of the best black flavor texts because it really describes what black is all about. It's about power through opportunity, and it used to be power through ruthlessness, but I think opportunity is a little bit more fitting because black it's amoral, it's looking out for itself. It's kind of survival of the fittest, although that's almost kind of like a green thing in a way. But black is really just power at any cost. And, the Game of Thrones, I like to think of this, the Cersei power is power. She's arguing with Littlefinger, and he says knowledge is power, and she says power is power, and she, sicks the guards on him, and it's a whole scene. And so this is black right here. This is what black is all about, just power at any cost. So in this card, Withering Torment, we pay life, and we get the ability to destroy an enchantment. Now, black also is not able to destroy artifacts. I think black should be able to destroy artifacts. There are cards in the past, such as Gate to Phyrexia. Let's just type it like that, Gate to Phyrexia. So this is sacrifice a creature, destroy a target artifact, activate only during your upkeep and only once each turn. I think this card is in the color pie for black. I really do. I think this type of card, honestly, should be printed in another version. I think this might be a reserved list, but in any case, it might not be. But yeah, this card is this is the epitome of what black should be able to do. Now, maybe they'd have to tweak it a little bit, maybe not exactly in this type of text, but sacrificing permanents, creatures, paying life especially, black should be able to do these things, and especially with a heavy black mana pip cost. So I really like the idea of that. I like the idea of red getting a Chaos Warp effect. I know it's a break, but I I want to be able to play the game, right? Because if somebody drops a Grave Pact and you're mono red, how do you what do you do? You're just kind of done at that point. Not really. I mean, you can play tokens and stuff, but I like the idea of just having an answer, even if it's inefficient, even if it's a little bit crazy like Chaos Warp. And so Withering Boon. Or sorry, not Withering Boon. Withering Torment. Withering Boon is a black counterspell. That one's a little bit questionable because it's on the stack. So, but in any case, Withering Torment, I love this card design. I want Wizards to print more of them, and I love it. This is one of my favorite cards from Duskmourn. Full stop. Full stop. One of my favorite cards from Duskmourn. I'm the opposite of Saffron Olive on this one. I agree with him on most things, but I disagree here. Black and every color should have the ability to fight on pretty much every part of the playing field when it comes to Magic. So what do you guys think in the comments? Do you think that Withering Torment is a mistake? Feed the Swarm effects are a mistake? What do you think of Color Pie bends and breaks? Do we think that these are a real problem? As we can see here, there's a whole bunch more Color Pie bends and breaks. High Tide is a famous example here in mono blue. It's like a blue ritual. Pongify and Rapid Hybridization, they haven't reprinted those. Darkness and black is kind of funny. That one's from the dark, actually. Yeah, Withering Boon I mentioned earlier. It's a black counter spell. You pay life to counter something. I don't know. That one's a little bit iffy, but yeah, I'm just trying to get my point across that I like when colors can do various things. They're not too shoehorned, so that this also encourages monocolor deck building or even two-color deck building. Especially with Grixis colors, they have a hard time dealing with artifacts and enchantments. And so I'm just really a huge fan of these things, and I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.